Hey everyone, welcome to this week's show. I am your host, your commissioner and champion, Team Ramrod. And with me this week, I have GM of the Big Bad Wolf himself, Corey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks
Always
for
fun to
joining me.
record. Squeeze it in here in the Christmas holidays.
I see that you're all decked out in your festive gear.
Gotta be, right? Christmas Eve recording.
Yeah, well, Le Champion was decked out in his championship rings and his championship belt.
I
Uh,
just have the one,
I
so
feel like that's a lot better than the festive sweater, but to each their own.
yeah. Small-minded people.
Also decked out with the trophy, which your name is actually
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Been a long time, though. Been a long time. But
Got my name on
recently,
both
yeah,
both
you're on both.
trophies I won. There was not an official trophy at the time of winning either.
See, that's something that I'll never have. Like you've got something that you've reached a milestone the champion will never have, being on the
There's
Caucasaurus.
definitely an asterisk on that trophy for all pre-losers prior to it being a thing.
That's that's fair, but like you didn't finish last.
Yeah, but at the time, draft lottery it made a difference,
Yeah, yeah, I did.
right? So it's a little different than now. That's all I got to say.
Draft lottery still makes a difference, but
Not for the bottom half, right? It's all based on everyone gets a chance to get the to see where
yeah,
they get their
yeah,
pick, right?
it's
So
not weighted or anything. It's just
exactly. So
yeah,
back then it was
it
you got
was
to pick
reverse order back then. So
exactly. So it made a massive difference.
yeah.
All
On
right,
the
let's go.
bright side, though, you won the championship first, and then you just sucked. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I went on a rebuild pretty quick. I think it was year three. I'm the official winner of that. We'll have to get Braden on here so we can have him take a look at who the winner was.
the only two-time champion, Braden. But we'll see. Let's see. Like right
Yeah,
now, we have a team in last place that's working on a repeat Caucasaurus.
that's
So,
true.
or sorry, not officially
No,
yet. Not officially yet. We got my boy Sean in last place, which is where he belongs. Um,
is the name change back yet?
it is. He changed it to
Okay.
yard sale.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I saw that too.
I guess let's
Nothing,
start.
nothing to buy though. That's why I
There's,
got to go to yard sale.
it's pretty
All
bare.
this scrap. Yeah,
That's why it's not like a super sale. It's you go to the fucking yard sale and you see nothing. I'll give you a quarter for this. Like
yeah.
cheap wares. Let's get into the results from last week here. Some interesting results. Let's start off with what I like to call a slaughter. Almost as bad as the finals last year. I put up 12 against Dan, though, 12 to 3. So Neil escaped a little better off. 11 to 3 victory for the Champion. He's now 7-3 and 1 in third place. Neil dropping to 5-5 and 1 in ninth place. What happened here?
I'll let you talk about this one first. Your matchup.
Sorry, having a festive beer here, boys. Get into the mood. Or I'll tell you what happened here. Completely one-sided beatdown is what happened here. It wasn't close at all week. It was over very early on. My boys just did what they were supposed to do. What they were drafted to do or traded for to do, and that was just dominate the lowly jobbers of the league. So they came out to play. Neil's guys, not so much. I dominated him in several stats. He had a little bit of a rough week. I don't expect his team to be this bad every week, but when you're playing against Le Champion, I can see how it's intimidating, and those guys just kind of didn't show up. What do you got to say
Yeah,
about
yeah. There were some close categories. Like both of you didn't have the most stellar week. Your goalies were definitely had a strong week, though. I'll say that. Your team came out and scored. But like your depth categories weren't top of the league this week, but it didn't have to be. He had a pretty mediocre week, beating you in saves. The only goalie category there, game winning goals, kind of you outscored him, so it's a hard one to be upset. And then three blocks, so it was one that could have been even worse. It could have been closer. Um, easy week for you though. It's nice when you go into the Sunday and your opponent's selling his ad drops. You always feel pretty comfortable at that point, right?
I used zero of my ads that week. I traded one to you,
Yep.
and the other two went unused. That's just how confident I was this week. In fact, I was offering to sell two guys I had playing on Sunday, and there were no biters. So, yeah. But I think it was a pretty easy week for Le Champion. Thanks, Neil, for giving me a little break last week. Better luck this week, bud. Shane hasn't lubed me. 2, 5, and 4 in 12th place. After losing to Patches O'Hooligan, who's continuing to roll on here, 7, 2, and 2 in second place. Now, before I ask you what you thought about this, I just like to point out that for a team who's near the top, guy barely says anything in the chat. You a little shy here, Nick? Come on. It's time to come brag. This is the highest your team's ever been. Probably ever will be. Corey, what happened here?
Yeah, Mark didn't have a terrible week for his standards. Both our teams didn't have great goalie stats, but Nick barely squeezing out all four out of the five, like just barely beating them out. So that was really the difference maker. Splitting player categories 5 and 5. Some close categories. Mark competing, but he's not lubed up, so it's a little rough still.
You gotta try the lube. It'll go so much better for you, Mark, when you're losing like this if you're lubed up.
Just
Um,
take the loss.
I think he just likes to feel it. That's all. Just likes to feel
Yeah.
it.
Prefers to be tied up, I think.
Yeah.
Getting close.
Well, he likes to be near the bottom, right? He's the
Yeah.
bottom feeder, so still sitting around the bottom percentage of the league here. Well, he was up against a top, so like they went well together. You got a strong top and a weak bottom. So
Yeah. No surprise in this one.
big win for Nick to keep rolling and keep pace at near the top of the league. Daltrey, 6-4-1 in sixth place, defeating bitchin' bitches, 4, 5, and 2 in 10th. What happened here?
This is a big matchup. But two teams are close in the standings. To see Daltrey come out with a win, keep on rolling forward, which is good. Close matchup. Daltrey's goalies had a much better week, taking 3 out of the 5 categories. Shorthanded point for bitch and bitches here. Like he beat him by 2 pims +2, so like Daltrey could have easily gotten away, but with more. I think it was a pretty easy win for him here. Pretty comfortable going into Sunday. I don't think I was when I was looking into all the matchups. This one didn't strike me as too interesting.
I thought it was pretty out of reach
Yeah,
come Sunday. So big win for Daltrey then. It's Colorado boys, and I say that like McKinnon was really good this week. I know because I have him in a different league, and he was really good for me that all week.
1 goal, 6 assists, 7 blocks for a guy like that in 12 shots.
Yeah, so big production week from him. Um,
0 points for Carlson and Granlund from him this week.
it's a good move that he made. Good move. Stamkos had some goals.
Yeah, he had a couple for me.
Still, he's not first overall though, like Stamkos. But big win for Daltrey though. Jump back into the thick of the playoff race here, pushing a possible opponent down further too, right? So Casey
Yeah.
losing out on some valuable points here. Um, should bounce back though with Askarov actually playing at the NHL level right now. So I know he had a rough go last night, but Vancouver can actually score goals. So, but I think Casey will still be a playoff threat throughout the rest of the year. Daltrey doing a good job at distancing himself from the bottom of that playoff race. So, big win for
Yep.
Daltrey. Everyone loves Raymond. Continues the roll. 6-4-1 in fifth place, defeating the Yard Sale, formerly known as Shane's Bitch last week. 2-8-1 in 16th, right where I like to see Sean, right at the bottom of the league. Um, tell me, Corey, what happened here?
Well, you didn't have to lift his foot too high to step down on Sean here. 9 goals, 10 assists is all Derek had to put up, and he still had a slaughter of a 9-3 win. His goalies did show up though, less games in, or less saves, but everything else was favorable his way. Um, pretty easy win here. But another big one to push him right into the mix. Also 6-4-1, just like Daltrey. So no surprise here.
What are we gonna do? Football season's over next week for him. He's gonna be very focused on hockey. He might be a dangerous team going down the stretch. Sean, though, is the opposite. You can see by his name, he's selling everything. Um, but what does he have that's of value right now? Not besides his keeper base. Not a whole lot. Unless someone wants to buy Kreider low. I feel like Kreider's getting traded. Healthy scratch, but no one's gonna pay a high price for him at this point.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see what Sean does from here. Besides continue to sink. I'm surprised Travis managed to get out of last. But when your team is worse in the standings than Travis, you got some fucking issues. You need to work that shit out, bud. Forgot
He'll
about
get there.
Dre. 6-4-1 in seventh place. After losing to Zvech me a drink. 4-6-1 in 11th place. Big win for Dan. Huge upset in my eyes. What happened here?
Yeah, this was a battle. Uh, coming right down to the end. So I know when I was looking at it last, it was 7-7. I'm not sure what ended up being the difference. A lot of close categories here. Really could have went either way. Nick only took him by two shots. Goalie stats were also really close, but they were favorable to Nick, so like it could have been worse. Uh, yeah, they both had pretty solid weeks. Big win for Dan. Um, big loss for Nick. Put him down in the standings. That makes the middle of the pack interesting this matchup, right? So I like to see it.
It's at least three teams at 6-4-1, so 5, 6, and 7 all with the same record.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's pretty tight in the
I'm
middle.
7-4, right above them.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we'll get to the standings, right? So
yeah, we'll take a look at the standings. We got time because
yeah,
there's no trades to go over, boys, because all we did was add drop trades. So we're not even going to bother talking about that shit. Um, but yeah, big win for Dan. Huge upset in my opinion. But you know what? Every team loses at some point. So it
yeah.
matters now that Nick bounces back. And for Dan, he hopes to keep things rolling, although he has a really tough opponent this week. So we'll see what happens. Mentally bedarded. 3-8-0 and 14th after losing to Travis's trash team. 3-8-0 in 13th place. What happened here?
It's surprising. I mean, it's a hard loss for Kyle. Uh, you take a look at your team at this point and reflect.
Yeah, do some
It,
soul searching when you lose to
yeah,
Travis.
some close matchups, some close categories definitely could have went either way, but it wasn't an impressive showing by either team. Uh, a lot more grit than some other teams I've seen in their matchups, but player wise, not great week. Goalie wise, both under 900, both above 300 goals against. Travis's goalies were the real difference here, taking three categories. Um, yeah, that's a big loss on Sean. It's a big win for Travis to stay out of the Golden Dick hunt, which I know he doesn't want.
I don't think anyone wants it, but you
Yeah,
know. Um, Travis was quick to point out to me that Plum still had two moves that he did not make, two ads that he did not use, which could have been the difference, really. I don't know if he just didn't have anyone to drop, if he was just busy with what the deal is. Um,
yeah.
but these are matches you got to win.
He's on a quick slide down, even though he's
Yeah.
been buying aggressively.
He needs to do some course correction here and flip things around, which is possibly why he was looking at shipping out Bedard. But I don't think shipping out Bedard is the solution unless you're getting a big return that includes a couple, like I said before, a couple keeper upgrades that'll help you
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, because you're already taking a downgrade right on one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So then to take a downgrade on one and an increase on another, like it's probably not worth it,
That's
depending who you're
minimum,
getting.
in my
Yeah,
opinion. Minimum.
exactly. So yeah, big loss, big win for Travis. 3-8 now. That's two teams 3-8 now, right? So
And apparently
right
Travis is the
there,
better of those two teams.
apparently.
The Big Bad Wolf, 7-4 in fourth place after losing to the Braden bye week, who's now what, 8-1-2, continues his first place positioning here. What happened here?
Yeah, he had a better week. It was close coming down to the wire. Um, Easily could have went the other way come Sunday. My guys didn't show up though, but he had a good week. Showing he can compete with the big boys. I did get a message from him after, so I will relay it. So tell Shane we're a legit team on the pod. So so Shane, Braden would like to tell you he is a legit team on the pod. Um, I will say this though, I don't think this is a team I'm too scared of coming into the playoffs. So I know I didn't win this week. My team didn't. Besides assists, my team didn't really show up. 35 assists, like that's a crazy
A lot of
amount.
assists.
So the few categories that I won were by a lot, but uh, definitely a beatable team in my opinion. It wasn't anything impressive
I agree.
either on my
His
time,
roster
either
isn't
on my
impressive.
side either. So
I agree that his roster's not that impressive. Yeah, okay, you might be one of the top teams in the league, Braden, but until you're the champion, there's just no
yeah,
respect.
nobody.
No respect. You don't know what it takes yet to win. And I just don't see it this year. Um, but who knows? His team's rolling. But we'll see what happens in a few weeks when we play again. That's what I'm looking forward to. Last time he got by with a tie, and that was when I had four guys injured. So and there weren't nobodies that were injured. My team, they were big parts of my team. So we'll see what transpires next time we meet, and that'll be a real gauge of how impressive his team in my eyes at least. So you keep winning your matches, Braden, and we'll see each other in a few weeks. Team Rocket, no surprise, 3-8. That's three teams at 3-8. Losing to Captain Crunch, 5-3-3 in eighth place. Kyle told me he couldn't make it this week on the show, but he'll return next week to talk about his last place triumph. So he doesn't have a lot of faith going into this week. What happened in this week against Domo?
Yeah, Domo had a decent week, and that's all he needed. Um, Kyle didn't really show up. 11 goals, 11 assists, no game winners. His depth stats were slacking, less than half the amount of hits than Domo had. Um, yeah, a nice easy win for Domo here. Also, same amount of points as Daltrey, Derek, and Nick. So it's an
Just less
interesting
wins.
playoff. Yeah, yeah, just more ties, less wins, right?
Yeah.
But, but yeah, Kyle keeps sliding down the standings here. I think he was like 3-3. Like he had a solid start to the season and just straight downhill. So this is another matchup that I think is potential win, and disappointing he couldn't come up with it.
I heard he really wants that golden cock on his mantle. He's trying to impress the new lady. Um, says, "Let me bring a real dick into the house. Let me show you what one looks like." But it's got legs. Just be careful. Like,
Yeah.
I think he just really wants it. He said Braden's the only two-time champ. No, can't have
No.
that. Braden can't have anything by himself. So I gotta step up.
No, that's why he has a partner now.
That's why I got a partner.
Yeah. We don't judge. We don't judge.
No, no judge. Like if that's what you're into, Braden. Let's talk about the standings quick. So like we said, Braden's still in first place, 18 points. Patches in second with 16. Le Champion was sitting in third. He leapfrogged over the Big Bad Wolf here at 15 points.
Oh,
Big Bad Wolf sitting with 14 points, though, holding fourth place alone. Then we have fifth through eighth, all sitting at 13 points. A little bit of a gap star in the spread, a little bit. Neil has some work to do if he wants to catch these boys because he's 2 points out now after losing to Le Champion in whew, very disrespectful fashion. Um, so he's down to 11 points in ninth. Bitch and Bitch is still around too, 10 points, sitting in 10th. Svetch at 9 points, sitting in 11th. Mark with 8 points, sitting in 12th. 13, 14, and 15, we have TVT and the two Kyles sitting at 6 points. And then right where he belongs at the bottom of the league is Sean with 5 points. So interesting standings, very close in the middle. Um, Starting to see some way. I don't think there's a way that Braden really misses the playoffs right now unless things go horribly wrong for him. It's not impossible. There's only 7 points up right now on ninth, but
Hmm.
it's a pretty healthy lead at this point in the season, um, unless things go horribly wrong. So it looks like the top of the league is rolling. The middle is so tight that there's a couple guys who can sneak in and a couple that could fall out. And the bottom, well, they're just falling pretty much out of it. Like I don't expect anyone from 12. Even 11's a push, but I'd say 12 and below for sure are pretty much done for the year. So maybe start thinking about selling boys because you guys are fucking trash.
Well, we have how long until the deadline? We have a couple months.
No, I don't even know when the deadline is. I didn't check. That's my bad. I know I could easily check, but no,
Yeah,
fuck
I'll take a look here.
this guy. He's gonna check.
February 26th.
Oh, there's still a lot of
So,
time.
so we have 2 months, 2 months to figure it out. So there's no rush to sell, but the one thing that there's rush for is there's not a lot of six and sevens out there left,
That's it.
especially in the people who want to move them, right? So yeah,
These trades are all ad drops, so we're just gonna say fuck it and not talk about them.
sounds
That's
good.
just something that you want to point out. There is one thing I
Uh,
want to point out is that Saturday night, Domo picked up LaFerriere off the waiver wire. Just I thought you would like that.
I did see that. I did. Sorry.
Let's talk about this week's matchups here in this special Christmas Eve edition. That way, everyone can go into the holidays with the greatest gift, trash talk from our league, and then spend time with your family, where you can, you know, soak in your sorrows about how shitty your fucking team is. But let's talk about this matchup. This first matchup, we got Le Champion in third place taking on Svech Me a Drink in 11th place. Big week, big test for Dan here after taking down Nick last week. I feel bad for the schedule. I noticed something in the schedule. I'm always playing the opponent after Nick just played them. So they are playing Nick and me back to back, which isn't very friendly to most people.
Hmm. I do play you guys back to back too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just happen to notice like when I'm talking about Nick's opponents, I'm always playing them the next week.
that's funny.
But a big matchup for Dan. Who do you got here, buddy?
Yeah, I got to go with you. It'd be an upset to see Dan pull it a win here. Not that we wouldn't like to see it.
It's a short schedule, right? So anything can happen this week, boys.
It's a
It's a
weird
light
one.
schedule. Some teams only have one game, and no one has more than 3 games.
Yeah,
So
there's only 3 teams I think with one game, right?
I think there's
Something like
two with
that.
one, and there's about four with two, and everyone else has
Yeah,
three.
and a lot of back to backs too.
Dan already made a mistake yesterday. Um, I was waiting, watching it at one. He had Quick on his bench and Shest in the net, and Quick got
Oh,
that start. It wasn't a great start, but in a week where it's going to be hard to get goalie starts, you missed one,
yeah,
and you missed out on the 25 saves that he did make.
yeah.
So it's a big advantage for the Champion. I waited until 1 o'clock to say so because I'm not
Obviously,
I'm not helping him. Fuck him. Pay attention, bud. Um, but yeah, it was a mistake. I was a little worried last night when I saw that Cooch got ejected for knee on knee on Kachuk. So I had to turn on the game. Game got really violent. But during the next power play, Kachuk actually came back. So uh, no injury there. He escaped injury. So it was good news
That's good.
for the Champion. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Champion should easily beat Fetch Me a Drink because the Champion is just better than him. Shane hasn't lubed me in 12th place, taking on Forgot About Dre in 7th place. This is good news. So that means next week I have an easier opponent than I do this week. Uh, who do you got here?
Yeah, Nick should be able to take this one.
You should be able to. I thought that too
Yeah.
about Dan, but he couldn't beat Dan.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna.
almost squeezed out a win against Braden too, like the week before. So he goes from Braden, Nick, you.
It's a tough stretch for a guy who's
Yeah,
at the bottom already.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck did you do against these bottom feeders?
Four, six,
Um,
and one.
I'm gonna give the edge to Dre. Obviously, I just think Dre has a better team than Mark. I think almost everyone has a better team than Mark. So, oh, there's our 10-minute warning. So that's good because
Doing good for time here.
we're doing good. But yeah, I'll just reiterate. I went with Dre because fuck you, Mark. Your team's trash. Y'all try the beef in 6th place, taking on Team Rocket in 15th. Who do you have here?
I don't expect Kyle to take this one. So Daltrey, I think should be able to keep on winning.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think anything could happen this week. You could see some upsets because of the light schedule. But we have no games today, no games tomorrow, no games Thursday. Um, but I just think Daltrey's roster is just better than Kyle's right now. So I'm going to go with the odds, and the odds are that Daltrey's probably going to win this one. So
Yeah.
both teams trending in different directions right now, and I expect that to continue. Now, this is a big matchup. Everyone loves Raymond, who's only 2 points up on Neil. 5th place versus 9th place. This is a big week for Neil. I don't think Neil can afford to lose. Who do you have here?
I'm gonna give my vote to Neil. Um, Derek, his team hasn't. He's had a couple wins down a row, but they haven't been impressive wins. Neil's put up some decent weeks against and just lost though. I think he's gonna take this one.
I'm going to go with Derek because I didn't see anything too impressive from Neil's team last week. Um, and Derek has a win over me, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll take out Neil and push Neil closer out of a playoff spot, maybe helping yours and Kyle's prediction come true that Neil won't make the playoffs.
Well,
I
we'll see.
personally still believe Neil is a playoff team,
Yeah.
but he'll have to earn it.
Oh,
Mentally Bedarded in 14th place, taking on the last place yard sale, formerly known as Shane's Bitch, forever known as Shane's Bitch. Who do you have here?
I got it with Kyle. There's no reason he should lose this week. Uh, for the guy's team, his name is Yard Sale. I went and took a look, and there wasn't much appealing. So um, I know there's people on Kyle's team that would I would target. So much different situation. Kyle should get the win here.
I agree. Right at this point, I have no faith that Sean's really going to win too much. I think he's lost faith. Um, Tough time of
He,
year to get down on yourself, though, Sean. Christmas will get your spirits up, at least for a day, before you come back to reality where, you're just a fucking loser in the bottom of the league, bud. Um, but yeah, right where you belong. We're happy to see you, bud. Bitchin' Bitches in 10th place, taking on TVT MF, the fucking trash team in 13th place. Who do you got here?
yeah, bitch and bitches should be a cakewalk.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think this is what Casey needed. He's had a couple rough weeks.
Merry
A little
Christmas.
visit with TVT. That's what everyone needs to lift their spirits. Easy win. Apparently, unless you're Kyle. But I guess he can't give everyone wins. Uh,
No,
but I heard Casey's been a good guy this year, so TVT gift him with a win.
Yeah.
Patches O'Houlihan, second place, taking on the Big Bad Wolf. Huge matchup. Only 2 points separating you guys in standings. Um, and a Big Bad Wolf win combined with a Team Ramrod win lets me leapfrog into second place. So who do you got here?
I got to go with myself. The goalie I picked up from you for an ad drop on Sunday didn't get the start to help my matchup last week, but he did get me a pretty good shutout last night with like 28
Against
saves. So
Florida.
against Florida on a back-to-back against Florida. With a limited matchup, like days playing this week, I think that should be felt really good. So keep that rolling into the weekend. I think I can take this one, and it would be a big win for the standings for me.
Man, that was such a rough, violent game last night. Like they were throwing the body, like they were going out of their way to finish every hit. It was fun to watch. But
Nice rivalry there, right? Play each other so many times too, and they've both been successful.
they play back-to-back games, right? So
But
that's
yeah,
I
so
guess they
all
didn't
the
like that Kachuk stared them down after the game, talking shit to the bench, and then the neon Kachuk.
yeah,
Things just got heated really early. It was a really fun game to watch. But like you said, it's a big week for you. I kind of hope you pull it out because again, I want to leapfrog into second place. Um, either way, I don't care, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I'd prefer you to win in this case. Domo versus the Braden bye week. Who do you got here?
gotta go with Braden. Um, it'd be an upset to see Domo win.
It would. Uh, but in a short week, Domo was going to be all over those fucking ad drops. I just don't think he has the assets left to make it
That's
work.
where my head went to, because that's the exact same thing. I just don't. There's no picks there, right?
No. So I'm in agreement. I think Braden should win this one. Um, but Domo will make him work for it. It wouldn't surprise me if Domo somehow finds a way to win because that's just what he does. But I think I have to give the benefit of the doubt to Braden in this case. He's in first place. It shouldn't be too challenging for him this week.
Yep.
Well, we're pretty much out of time. We got a few minutes left. Do you have anything you want to say to the league before we?
No, it's been a fun first half of the season here, so have a safe holidays with the family, and obviously the chat will probably be pretty crazy with how much time we have in our hands. So
3 days for
the
the league.
trades commence, right?
We say that, but anyone that's selling has nothing, and
It's
anyone
true.
who's buying has nothing left because they've already spent.
So now it's tweaks,
Yeah, it's tweaks.
or player for player deals. So
Well, it should be an interesting few days. We'll see what happens. I do appreciate you joining me, buddy. Thanks for joining me.
no, thanks for having me. It's always fun to be able to squeeze time in to make it work.
Yeah, that's it. Beautiful Christmas Eve day. Um, Boys, thanks for watching. We'll be plenty of trash talk for the next few days, but I do want to say Merry Christmas to all of you from your champion. Have a great safe holidays. I don't want anything to happen to you guys because I want you to be here for me to fucking trash talk you for the next few weeks, specifically over the summer when I celebrate another championship. But good luck this week, everyone, except for you, Dan. Go fuck yourself.